So tonight we have the amazing Trudie Ritchie chatting to us tonight. She is going to speak about, so I'll introduce her first. So she's an EMVP in Sydney, correct me if I'm wrong, but she is like the mama bear in Arbonne. You guys might know Joe, who spoke on here a month or so ago. Joe's upline. So Trudie has a massive background in skincare, which she will tell you about soon. But honestly, she's going to share her tips and wisdom about, working as a team. There's no I in team, and really utilizing the momentum that we have, but also ways that she connects with people, because I know that there is quite a new team on here as well, and connecting can be some of the hardest part to get your business off the ground. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Trudie, and if you can just unmute yourself.
Excellent. Hey, rock stars. How are we all this morning? You've got the crown on. I should have stolen one of those when I was back in NZ. It's so exciting to be with you all. Thank you, Em, for having me on. It's an honor to be speaking with you all. I know that I did meet some of you in New Zealand when Joe and I did oh, look, here come all the crowns. I love it. When Joe and I did our quick 5 nights, 5 cities in 5 nights, it was a real whirlwind, but was so exciting. It was so great to meet so many of you and just feel the energy that you have, going for RVP. It's such an exciting time for every single one of you, and I'm so proud of you all. I love that we've got a little Bubba on here. Like this business is just the epitome of acceptance, right? Of just accepting absolutely everybody and anybody. I love that. We were just on a team call last night with our Know Before You Go, before going to conference next week. Who's going to Ignite Your Glow conference over here in the Goldie? It's going to be so much fun. So we just had a team get to know before you go, and we were all saying, how many conferences have you all had? And I think this is going to be my 14th or 15th conference, the Australian New Zealand one. And we were just, some were saying 1, or this is 0. And one was saying, can I bring my Bubba? I'm like, absolutely, you can bring your Bubba. And that's one thing that is so incredible about this business, is just everybody's welcome. Bubba's in awe, which is so cool. So I'll just really quickly share my stories, Em said, so you sort of know a bit of my background for those who don't know who I am. I'm, of course, a very proud independent consultant and executive national vice president. I've been with Arbonne for 14 and a half years. It'll be 15 years in May next year. I honestly feel like I've been in it 14 months. Like, it has been the best ride. There have been a lot of ups and there have been a lot of downs, and you're going to get that in business. You're just going to get that in life in general, right? And I think the most powerful thing about this business is who you grow to become, to be able to attack all of those challenges that come your way, or to be able to be, a bounce back ball and get hit down, but bounce back up even quicker. And that's really building resilience. And I think that's one of the biggest things that this business has taught me is, how to be so resilient. Who was I talking to the other day? And I was like, I am unflappable. You cannot push me down. And they're like, unflappable? I'm like, yep, totally unflappable. Doesn't matter what you throw at me, it won't even hit me anymore. That's the type of growth that you want to grow yourself as, just not even for this business, but as a person for life, to be a better mum, to be a better sister, to be a better girlfriend or a wife or friend, just whatever that is. And when you can get to a place like that through personal growth, it's really electrifying. And you create that transformation for yourself. So people then are drawn to that, like, oh my gosh, what is it that you're doing? So I've been in Arbonne 14 and a half years, and I've been in the beauty industry for 30 years. So I've almost been in Arbonne half of my career in the industry, which is just absolutely wild to me. So I started when I had a 2-month-old and a 6-month-old, a 6-month-old and a 2-year-old. So I was a very busy mom. I could have said, absolutely no, I'm too busy. But my girlfriend was really, really smart. She just said, I want your professional opinion on the products, because being in the industry as an international trainer, paramedical beauty therapist, she just thought this would be incredible if she could get me, yes, into the business, But I first said, absolutely not. I don't want anything to do with one of those businesses, and the products will be absolutely terrible. Well, I ate my words very quickly. The products were insane, and I noticed a difference in my skin straight away. The products have completely transformed my skin. If you have seen my skin beforehand, when I started, it was very inflamed, prematurely aged, and it had pigmentation all over it. So I actually don't recognize my skin today than when I started 14 and a half years ago. And I'm actually going to share a bit of my timeline. So please don't record this. I'm just going to say earnings.arbonne.com. Just to show you, because I know that you're all in such incredible momentum, and momentum is so amazing. It can be so scary sometimes. So, it's just like that big wave out there in the ocean. I live out here at the ocean, and I watch some of those surfers out there, and I'm like, absolutely not. You would never get me on top of one of those waves. I would rather ride an Arbonne wave any day than one of those waves out there in the ocean. But that's what momentum feels like. It's like you're on the top of that wave, and you unless you're going to crash and maybe hurt yourself and come down, you've got to ride that wave outright until you can just come into shore. And that's what momentum's like. So I started my business in May 2009. And I promoted to district manager within 2 months of the business through selling products. Because I was in the industry, when I started this business, number one, I had the biggest ego. That's been wiped right out of me now, but I had the biggest ego. And my thoughts were, if I could get this brand into salons, I'm going to crush this business. Well, salons weren't open to hearing about a network marketing company. And so I was really good at selling product, and I sold my way to district manager, but I couldn't bring anybody into my team. And the reason being is because I was sharing about my industry with people. So people had a conception that, oh, I have to be a beauty therapist, or I have to have skills like her, or I have to have a diploma like her. And so it was really detrimental to my business because, I couldn't sponsor people into my business. And so that's one of the biggest things that I'll say to you. It doesn't matter where you've come from. It doesn't matter what your degrees are. We all have a level playing field. People always say to me all the time, like, oh, you've been successful because of your background. It's like, no, that's not why I've been successful. I've been successful because I did it how everybody else did it. And it's not because of my background at all. And so getting to district manager, I had no idea what district manager even was, guys. I had no team trainings. You're so lucky to have such an incredible leader with an M who's puts on these trainings for you and gets guests in, and who is your personal cheerleaders. We had no trainings at all. We had no system like the source or anything at all. I remember when I started, I got this big, thick folder that was sent from the US from my upliners, Deanna Heron and Cecilia Stoll, and it was all US stuff. And they were like, here, read this. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was so overwhelming. So I just firstly want to say how, we're so lucky with what we have now and how our company has evolved over the past 14 and a half years, how everything has been simplified, and how we have such incredible leaders and a system to follow, which is amazing. And so district manager, and actually my very first conference was at the Royal Pines, where we're going next weekend. That was my very first conference. I was a new district manager. I had no idea what I was doing there, but I just went for the fun until I heard about the Global Training Conference in Vegas. And so I went along to that. And to be honest, I just went along to that because I wanted to play in Vegas. I'd never been to Vegas. My husband was going to come, and we thought, this is cool. It's a tax deduction. We will just pop our head into conference to say that we've been there, and we'll just go and, have a bit of fun in Vegas and do some shopping. Well, I went to the first thing it was so small. It was a little room of 50 back then of Australians and UK together. That was all that was there from Australia and the UK. And I listened to a couple of ENVPs, and my husband came with me. Well, I tell you what, we went to every single thing that we could go to. We were absolutely blown away of what type of business we were in, of the possibilities that there were, and just hearing from these incredible leaders that had been in the business for 15, 20 years. It was absolutely amazing. And so I went to that conference as a struggling district manager, sometimes buying my way to the 2,500, because remember, I had no idea what on earth I was doing or what district manager meant. And so I went there as a struggling district manager. I'd been a district manager for 10 months. And when I came back from that conference, and this is what conferences do for you. When I came back from that conference as a struggling district manager, my husband said, you need to have a system. So we sat up till 3 a.m. one morning, creating like kind of what we thought was a system back then. I changed my attitude, my belief, my commitment. So I changed my attitude about the business, what I needed to do. I changed my belief in the industry and in the company, and I changed my commitment, meaning that I stopped watching television. I used to be a big home and away watcher, stopped watching television. I know I'm so embarrassed to say. And I started doing my personal development. So I'd never done personal development before there. So there's my very number one biggest tip, that you will only succeed in this business and keep the momentum going if you're doing the personal development. It is so, so crucial, guys. And I'm living proof that, you know, I didn't get anywhere within my business within those first 10 months because I wasn't doing the personal development. I don't know what learnings I can get from home and away, but they were nothing. And so our first month back from the Global Training Conference, remember, I went over as a struggling district manager. Our first month back, we went into area qual. We closed it out the following month. And as our first month as a paid area, we went into region qual and closed it out. So within 6 months, because I actually closed region over 3. Within 6 months of being a struggling district manager, having to like get a couple of products to do my own 2,500, we were now sitting up at, you know, 40, 50, 60,000 QV. So that is number one, is the power of personal development. That is the number, turning up to conferences. It's not too late to come. You can still come if you've been sitting on the fence. That's something that can completely change you. But it's just, yeah, the personal development is absolutely crucial. So it's a little bit about my story. I want to go back to just talking a little bit about momentum there for a minute, because, you know, talking about that and like how scary it can sometimes be, but to create that momentum and to keep that momentum going, we have to be keeping the consistency going. And that's probably my second tip, is consistency. Because in this business, it does not matter how much time you put into the business. What matters is the amount that you put in every single day, the quality, not the quantity. So, you know, if you only had half an hour a day or 2 15-minute slots to work your Arbonne business, if you were 100% focused and consistent every single day and doing the activity, and by working your Arbonne business, it does not include your personal development or, you know, filing your tax stuff away. It is, you know, doing actual income producing activity that is going to be following up with clients, talking to people about the business, inviting them to watch Discover Arbonne. Yeah, that's about the new connections, you know, building those relationships with people. It's really, really important. So consistency is absolutely key. And consistency is actually what creates momentum, and you will never carry on the momentum if you don't have that consistency in what you're doing on a regular basis. I always, you know, when I talk about momentum, we all kind of know what momentum is and what it feels like. You know, that's when you've just got so much going on and everything seems in flow. But I sometimes think there's also things that we need to stop doing to make sure that the momentum continues as well. That's things like excuses. I used to be a big one of making excuses and hiding behind them. So that's a really big one as well. Getting over the no's. Does anyone ever go, oh my gosh, another no? There's a really good book, actually. It's called Go for No. I don't know if you've read that before. It's a fantastic book, and it's actually where you can play a game with yourself and pop like 20 pebbles into your pocket. And then by the end of the day, you've got to move the pebbles over to the other pocket and get as many no's as you can throughout the day, because as soon as you go through those no's, the yeses are going to come, okay? Building your activity is really, really, you've read that book. It's so good, isn't it? Building that activity as well. So activity is what's really going to drive your business and really creating those new connections. So you all know that I've just been in New Zealand. Okay. I was over there for 5, 6, I think I was over there for 8 nights in total. Do you know how many people's Instagram handles I got? Okay, so wherever you are throughout the day, like even not even just in New Zealand, when I come back, we went up to Hamilton Island here, we up in the Whitsundays of Australia. Every single time I'm at a restaurant, our waitress, wherever I am, supermarket, it doesn't matter where I am, I'm connecting with people and connecting with them on a heart-to-heart level. Okay, I'm not connecting with them going, oh my gosh, you would be great at my business, or I want to talk to her about the business. I connect with them on a level, and I'll give you an example of this, of one of the girls up in Hamilton Island. So Hamilton Island, having dinner with the family, and our waitress came over. I said, oh my gosh, you're a Kiwi. And she was like, how did you know? And I said, I can spot that accent anywhere. I'm a Kiwi as well. She's like, oh. So we started talking. I was like, babe, are you on Instagram? I'd love to stay connected. She's like, yes, just something as simple as that. So I know that sometimes, and I used to feel like this in my business as well, especially when I was new, you kind of go through your people, and I always like to have two different lists. I like to have a list of people that I really want to talk to about the products, and a list of people that I'd really love to talk to about the business, okay? Because you kind of know those that maybe want to use the products first, or host an event for you first, and then come into the products. I know we always say, lead with the business first, and, sometimes absolutely, but I think that each individual person is so different in the way that you lead. So I always have those two lists going. So when I'm meeting people out there, it's just a general connection, okay? Because if you are speaking something and you're thinking something different, that's a passing of energy, and people pick up on that energy and they won't trust you, okay? So whenever you're connecting with people out there, I'm always complimenting people. We were in where were we? Christchurch, when we arrived in Christchurch, and we had went and had a beautiful breakfast, and the waitress was just not having a good day. She would not smile. She was like the maitre d'. She was not happy at all. And we're sitting there with Anthony Dean, and he was just like, oh, she's a bit ho-hum. And I was like, you know what? My goal before I leave this table is I'm going to make her smile. And he was like, okay. And so Alison's like, how are you going to do that? And I was just like, watch me. My goal is to make her smile. I don't care about getting her Instagram handle. I just want to make this beautiful. She was so young, this beautiful young girl smile. So she was just talking to, bringing the meals over, and I was watching her as she was going around. And then she came over, and I said, can I just ask you a really quick question? Did you do your hair this morning? She was like, oh, yes. I said, oh my gosh, it looks so professional. Like, she was like, oh, it's the Dyson. And she lit up, and she had this smile, and Anthony gave me like a little kick under the table. I was like, you know what? This is not a time for me to ask for her Instagram handle, because that's a bit weird. But you know what? I felt so good because I'd done what I completed, and I made that girl smile. So when you're out there meeting new people, yes, we want to get new connections and relationships and things like that. But so much of our business is being out there, just making others feel comfortable and happy, and make them smile. And what that does for you is it raises your vibrational energy. And then that is attractive. That acts like a magnet for other people as well. They'll be like, oh my gosh, what is Pearl doing? She's so happy lately, and she's like got this different vibe about her. Because when we make others happy, that makes us happy. And happiness is the highest vibrational energy, love and happiness, okay? So that's what I want your goal to be. When you're out there making new connections and relationships, get rid of the dollar signs, get rid of the QV that's going ting in your head. Go, who am I going to make smile today? Who am I going to put make happy today? And I think that's one of the biggest gifts that we have, is the more that we do that. And sometimes it's scary, if you had have known me before Arbonne, I would never have gone up and said anything to a stranger. I used to hide behind my husband. I would never get on and do a training like this. I was just like shy, so insular, like you would never guess it now. But the more that you do it, and the more that you step out your comfort zone, give yourself a goal. If you're a person like that, just go, I'm going to speak to one person today that I don't know. Whether you flick them a message, or whether you speak to them in the supermarket or the post office or wherever that is, just give yourself a goal. I remember when I decided to go from my struggling district manager and to level up, I used to always have this thing, and I used to train my team that, and back in the day, we used to have these sample packs, but my goal every single day was to give out 2 samples. And if it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon and I hadn't given out my 2 samples, I used to put the kids in the car, in the pram, and I used to go down to the little local shopping center and I would give out 2 samples. So whether that would be walking into a shop, and I still do that today. I mean, obviously we don't sample now, but I get Instagram handles. So we've got a conference coming up. What have I been doing? I've been out in the shopping malls, walking around the shops, you know, oh my gosh, can I help you with anything? Yes, I've got a conference coming up in the Gold Coast. I need like a glow shimmery outfit. They're like, oh my gosh, that sounds exciting. Bang, creating relationships, creating rapport with people. So sometimes I think we overthink how to get out and meet people. If you actually just weave it into your day, naturally, it becomes such a natural thing to happen. It's such a natural thing to happen. So, you know, for those of you coming over to the Gold Coast, there you go. I've given you a little way to go and meet people in the shop. So, you know, you might go and have a look at shoes or belts or whatever, handbags, whatever it is. But it's a great way to get you out there and get you socializing with others and talking to them. As scary as it is, just do one. Just tick that one box. And next time you'll be like, oh, your heart will be pounding. But next time it'll be like, okay, I can do 2 or I can do 3. And the more that you do it, the easier it comes. And now like my kids are like, Mom, can we just have dinner or can we just do this? I'm like, no, I have something that can change people's lives. I'm never going to stop doing this business. I'm never going to stop meeting new people and talking to people because we have something so special. How dare we hold that to ourselves? So my challenge to you, what have we got? 5 days left, 4 days left. My challenge to you, each and every one of you, is an action, is to go and meet 1 new person a day. It's too late now, so starting tomorrow. And I want you to message me and say, I've done it. Message me on Insta or Messenger or text me, whatever, email me, but send me a message and say, I did my 1. If you didn't do your 1, I want you to message me and say, I chickened out too. Be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself because that's integrity, right? Do what you say you were going to do long before it's over. And I just want to leave you with that actually. Actually, let me see if I can find it somewhere. We had, I don't know if any of you know Executive National Vice President Mo Boga. She is a beautiful light, sunshine, full of energy over in the US. She actually lost everything in the California fires a few years ago, like lost completely everything. But she was in Maui one year. I think it must be like maybe 7 years ago now. Do what you say. I'm just going to see if I can find do what you say you would. Anyway, they were in Maui and one of her uplines was walking on the beach. I can't find it. So I think I can remember the story. One of her uplines was on the beach and there was a guy walking around and he had this t-shirt on and it said, because you said you would. And so she went up. I'm talking and I'm just trying to find it at the same time. I don't know if I can find it. Anyway, so she went up and said, I'm really intrigued. What is this? Because you said you would. And he told the story about his father who had died from cancer. And one of the biggest things the lessons that he learned from his father growing up as a kid is do what you say you're going to do because you said you would. And so when his father died, he started a non-profit organization. And if you Google it, because I said I would, it's an actual whole organization. And his son started up this organization. You can buy t-shirts and stuff like that. But he said the biggest thing in life is like so many people do things because they're going to get something for it. So do what you say you're going to do because you said you would, not because there's a Mercedes Benz or because there's cash there or because you're going to get jewelry or because you're going to get a bonus, but do it because you said you were going to do it. And so that's my action to you right now is, are you looking it up, Em? I think you're looking it up. It's an incredible organization. No, be good for you to look it up.
Well,
And then,
I've heard someone talk about this though, so I
oh, you
must have
have?
heard it on somewhere.
Have I
Yeah,
shared it with you before? I don't know.
not on this call, no, but somehow I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's such an incredible story. I'll try and find the whole story. I have got it somewhere. I've missed bits out, but it's such a powerful story just to go and do something because you said you were going to do it. So that's my action to you all, is to go ahead and just do it because you said you were going to. Who's going to do it? Who's going to go out and meet one person a day? Yes. And you don't have to get their Instagram handle or Facebook or something, but just go out and make someone smile and go out and meet someone, or just, there are so many people out there in the shops and just in general who are just miserable. They're walking around with a frown upside down. And so, like, whose life am I going to change today? Who am I going to put a smile on their face today? And people get such a shock when you do it. When you hop into a lift and you're like, how are you going today? And they're like, oh, I'm good. People get a fright when there's like high energy people, but they'll walk out of that lift going, oh my gosh, who was that? That's how you want to make people feel. And the more that you do that, as I said before, the more that raises your vibrational energy, and the more that you're going to attract people towards you, because there is enough doom and gloom out there without, having to create anything more. We have such an incredible gift to be able to go and light the light in others' hearts, in others' lives. And you never know what's going on behind closed doors. So if you can just put a smile on someone's face, or make them, just feel happy, or like feel important, make people feel important, they will just absolutely love that. So the last thing I wanted to end with was, I don't know if you've heard of this before, is middle class and world class. Have you heard of that before? If you're a middle class or a world class person. So this refers to how you see yourself. And it's a description that not refers to what's in your bank account, but how you approach things in your life. So are you someone a middle class? Are you someone who competes or creates? Maybe someone who's frustrated, or are you grateful? Do you avoid risks, or do you manage risks? Do you love to be comfortable, or love being uncomfortable? We need to all learn to love being uncomfortable. Focus on having, or focus on being? Have pipeline dreams, or have a crystal clear vision? Are you problem orientated or solution orientated? Do you see yourself as a victim, or see yourself as a victor? This is a huge one. This is a big one that I talk to my team about all the time. Think you know enough, or eager to learn? Or do you choose fear, or choose growth? It's such an incredible thing. I always look at it is like the Secrets of the Millionaire Mind book. Absolutely. So it's just so incredible to see all your success. And you know what? When one succeeds, you all succeed. And that's one thing I really love about this business, is watching everyone come through, watching everyone succeed, because it's contagious, right? Success is contagious, and it creates a ripple effect. And, this team right here, every single one of you are so important. You each play or have a piece of the puzzle in this team, and you each are so and so important. And as our old former President Rita Davenport used to say, she was to say, God is watching, so give him a bloody good show. Everybody's watching, guys. Everybody is watching. And I want to tell you something right now. Everybody in Arbonne is talking about you guys. Everybody in Arbonne is watching you. And you're giving inspiration to everybody out there, whether they're brand new, whether they've been in the business for a while. Because when you succeed as a team, Arbonne succeeds, we all succeed, even though that we're not in the same team. This business is we're a family business. It doesn't matter whose teams we're on. But when you all succeed, we all succeed. Because you know what? When you guys go RVP qual, and when you promote to region as a team, I'm going to be sharing that on my Instagram, because success is contagious. So rally behind each other, push each other, grow each other, keep pushing to that goal, because it never ever is ending, and it's the success is just going to be there, and the momentum that you're going to create is just going to keep the businesses going, keep every single one of your businesses going. And it's so inspiring, you know, what your story is and what you think may not be inspiring is so inspiring to so many others out there. So I am wishing you, cheering you all on. I know that Em has told me there's so many things happening, and qualifications and promotions and quals and Achiever Awards and things coming up. So I am just cheering you all the way. The whole of Arbonne, as I said, is cheering for you. We're so excited for you. I can't wait to see many of you again up in the Gold Coast. Have a beautiful evening, and thank you for giving me some of your time.
Thank you so much for jumping on. Thanks, guys.